Hey, my Pokepop here, and today received some tragic news about a very big and very popular YouTuber, known as Etika. His real name is I don't know, but because I'm really bad at remembering names. But Splatoon was updating for me, but that's why I had it there. But I was gonna play Overwatch today, but I feel like since he was such a great gamer and he was known for his Nintendo games, well, among other things, I should do some Nintendo today. But let me bring something up here. So as you can see here, let me blow this up. This is my Twitter profile, and I retweeted this earlier today. And unfortunately, Etika's body has been found in a river, deceased in New York. And I just want to take some time to talk about some the mental health of people in general, because it really hit home for me. Hey Quasar, hey Jay Bauer, hey Curb, hey Quasar. You cried for a bit, man. I was really crushed to hear that. His real name is Desmond Amofa. There you go. Hey Elijah. So yeah, you can totally see all that. But let's go back to that. So I just want to say hi to some people. Anyway, so unfortunately, he has been. It looks like it says ripe Tika. Anyway, so this stuff is really serious, guys. It really hit home for me just because I myself am going through a lot of mental issues, mental struggles, and especially a few years ago when my wife was still my girlfriend, she had to put up with a lot of that. And someone put "Rip Etika" on my friends list here. It's just really sad, and I just want to take some time to discuss it. I was in a really dark place a few years ago. This is before I started streaming, but these issues are issues that I still struggle with today. Honestly, like even this past weekend was really tough for me. Even before I heard about all this Etika stuff, I just really heard about it like earlier today, honestly. But yeah, if you have suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Hotline. The person dying. Yes. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up that hotline, National Suicide Hotline. Just in case anybody who ends up watching this stream. I will edit this video, by the way, so I can cut out the segment where I talk about suicide and stuff and mental health. Anyway, I'm put it to a video. There's a number right there. 1-800-273-8255. If you're in the United States, I think. Yeah. There's a number for every country, though. I saw one posted somewhere. Anyway, a few years ago, I was in a really dark place. I would literally go through periods of time where I felt like trapped in my situation. I've never really talked about this on my channel, but I think I should just to get my story out there. But I battled a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, perfectionism and stuff. He was a great streamer. Wait, didn't he go crazy when they announced Smash? Yeah, that's the Etika. They made a bunch of memes about him, right? He was a good memer. Hey there, Caden. Welcome back. But yeah, I remember TV is one of the things I like to do when I'm really depressed, or it's more like my vice, my escape mechanism. For some people it's alcohol, for some people it's drugs. For me it's TV. And I used to do these things where I would just sit in front of the TV for the whole day, 14 hours a day, ignore my phone calls, ignore my text messages, cut off communication, minimize human interaction. And it was really dark. And part of it was just I've gone throughout a significant portion of my life thinking I wasn't good enough. I struggled with that, with not measuring up. I think part of it was my upbringing. Another part of it was just because I was never good at school. I was the one out of my siblings not really succeeding academically. Kind of just being at home and doing nothing all day, and my parents were always worried. And I just felt like a failure in life, and I felt like up to that point, I've done too much to really redeem myself, and things looked bleak and hopeless. It was just like this. Like I don't know what his exact situation was, but I kind of know what it's like to be there, which is why I want to tell my story. And like you just kind of feel like the way he was talking when in his last video before he disappeared. Like the way he was talking, I related to it a lot, which is why it hit home for me. Like you just kind of feel like you dug a hole so deep where you could barely see any light, and it's like so dark, and you feel so alone, and you just feel like there's nothing anyone can do to get you out of it, nothing you can do to get you out of it, and like you've pretty much pushed everyone away in your life. And I don't know, maybe there's some, sometimes you feel like you can do it yourself, but that's what it felt like for me. And honestly, had it not been like, I didn't go crazy and stuff, but I hadn't yet gotten to that point where I was feeling pretty desperate. I mean, I had stopped showing up for class, even though I had no problem doing it before. I stopped turning my assignments. I mean, it started out slowly too. I stopped having motivation to do anything. And honestly, if it weren't for my wife, who then was my girlfriend, I think I would have gone down a similar road as Etika. I hate to say it, but part of me knows it's true. Even now I still struggle with self-esteem issues. Sometimes where I struggle with a lot of anxiety and hey Casey, I struggle with a lot of anxiety, and my psychiatrist says perfectionism. I also have ADHD, if you don't know, and I just didn't know it for so many years. And for so long, I always thought I was too dumb or too stupid to do anything in life, and I was just a failure. That was my mindset, And it's not something you can erase easily. I still struggle with it today, and it puts you in a dark place. I don't know what Etika's issue is exactly, but that's what it's like to have a mental issue. Like gnawing away at you every day and fighting it every day, and you just have to come out on top every time, honestly. But the only thing that pulled me out of the dark was my wife deciding to stick around, because I know he was dating someone and she decided to break it off, and I'm pretty sure that didn't help either. But my wife stuck it through. She went through absolute hell, just to help me through my crap, my darkness, my demons inside of me, which I'm still dealing with today. I've gotten a lot better though, but if it weren't for her, I don't think I'd still be around today, or at least I'd be in an even darker place today. And I kind of feel it, I feel where Etika's coming from. And like people use religion or other things to help them get out of their situations, but the thing I have to understand is I was raised Catholic, and I was raised by my dad, who had that very traditional what the Mexicans call machismo, kind of mentality. Like you're a man, you don't need to cry, you shouldn't be this expressive about your emotions. And I think a lot of men are raised that way. And my dad's way of raising me was just that was the way it is. Men can't express emotions. They can't because it's just seen as a sign of weakness. You know what I mean? You have to internalize it all, and men are too proud to, they shouldn't need help. You know what I mean? And being raised, and you all know I'm Asian, right? I'm Filipino, and mixed, but especially in Asian cultures, it's seen like is like a super taboo thing for especially your child to have a problem. My second grade teacher did express that I did have ADHD, and that I think from there, I think that's when my mental health started plummeting, and I had a lot of anxiety issues from the way my parents raised me, from a very authoritarian way of raising, which I don't blame them. They were just doing their best, but it's had a huge impact on me. Being a parent is a hard job. Jay Bauer, let's see. Oh, Quasar, you found out what happened after you saw 2 posts on Splatoon 2. Yeah, I just found out. I think I got a notification from Twitter this morning, and it was like, wow. I didn't even know he was missing. I don't spend too much time on social media. I just can't. I can't be on there for that long. It's too distracting. But let's see here. I went through a very dark time in my life from December 2015, July 2016, after my dog Princess passed away at 13 in December 2015. I went through the darkest moment ever. It was a very sad time. Man, yeah, that's tough, dog. I can't even imagine, like Misty. I mean, she just turned a year old. I can't even imagine what it'd be like if she were to pass away after 13 years. I mean, I can totally understand. I'm sorry that happened, Jay Bauer. But yeah, for me, it was really rough, just feeling like a failure. And And as guys, as men, whether you're straight or not, or whatever you are, like we're often raised especially in Western societies, where we have to be the strong one. You can't show emotion. You can't express it. We're not. The problem with that is when you're not taught of how to express your emotions, you're not processing them. Because in order to express your emotions, you have to process them. You have to know what to express. And for men, it's taboo. Emotions are taboo unless you're angry. We lash out for everything. And that's like, it's just dumb, I'm going to blow up my face cam a little bit. Take my focus off the background. But it's just like, why do we raise our boys that way? You know what I mean? Regardless of how they choose, their sexual orientation to be, I think it's just a problem with men we have in general. For some reason, we can't be sad, we can't cry, and all that stuff, and that it's really toxic. It really poisons us. As you can see with Etika, he didn't want to reach out for help. He probably, internally, he likely felt ashamed. He felt like a failure as a man. Because men, we're tough. We're not supposed to reach out for that kind of stuff, right? But it's dumb. You shouldn't have to be that way. If you feel sad, you should pinpoint why you feel sad, what caused it, and ask for people for help. And asking people for help doesn't necessarily mean like going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist and having talk therapy and having medication. It's just like opening up to someone about it. And being like, hey, work really sucked today, and then why? Because this and this happened. And that's something I'm continually learning to do with my wife and other people, like just being honest about how I feel, and just like taking what's in here, and like letting it out, and how that way other people can help you. And the thing is, you don't go to people, obviously, you don't tell them about your crap if they can't help you. You know what I mean? Yeah, but let's see here. You suffer with a lot of things. I'm still having those problems today. I feel you, Casey. Not the only one. We're all works in progress here, You've been on Twitter so much, your brain just melted because of what Etika did. Joy-Con's voice for life. Yeah. I didn't watch Etika much, but I knew about him. I watched some of his video clips here and there. I tried my best not to consume too much media because it's toxic for me. I end up just spending way too much time on it, because watching things is my vice, but sometimes I can't help it. You're never a fan of Etika, but never want him to die. Yeah, and no, nobody deserves that kind of fate. Open up your mind. You only have one life. That's your life to take care. We have mistakes and we fix them. Yeah, definitely. There's nothing wrong with failure. There's nothing wrong with not measuring up. We're all here to improve. We're all here to get better. We all have that common goal as human beings. You should never be ashamed to tell people, how you feel about something. I always feel like for me, it's an everyday reminder. I can tell you this thing, but for me, I have to remind myself every day. You have to, it's okay to not succeed at something. What can we learn from this past failure? How can I improve on it? Okay, we're gonna keep going, and I keep my goal in mind. One day I'm gonna get here. I'm down here today, but I'm gonna get here. I won't be here forever. I don't have to be down here forever. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna be playing Splatoon 2. I'm just gonna take some time to. I just wanted to take some time to talk for a little bit. You love watching emos, made me laugh. Yeah, from what I saw, those video clips I saw of him, he was hilarious. I loved his Smash Ultimate reaction when it got announced for the during the what is it, E3 or the Smash Direct. That was crazy. But yeah, I will be playing Splatoon 2. But yeah, if y'all ever want to talk about if you ever need someone to talk to, I can't promise you I'm gonna help fix everything, But a lot of my viewers here are young. I work with kids a lot. Right now, working with preschoolers, but most of my experience has been with elementary schoolers and some middle school, high school stuff too. You could talk to me if you want to. The benefits of being a small YouTuber. I can talk to pretty much everybody. But yeah, I have Amino. You guys can hit me up on Splatoon 2 Amino. I'm on Pokemon Amino, Splatoon 2 Art and Comic Amino. I'm on Marvel Amino. You can message me through there. You can email me. My email's in the description. You can message me on one of those ways. You can tweet at me, or DM me on Twitter or whatever. Excuse me, on Instagram. I mean, sometimes it just helps to have somebody to talk to. Getting something off your chest, sharing your burden. So you don't have to bear it all alone. People are meant for human companionship. They're meant to have that heart-to-heart connection. But yeah, I mean, I've helped. I used to work with fifth graders, and like you would think as like if fifth graders are like 9, 10 years old, like to me it's bizarre. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Like I'm 26 years old. Etika was 29, by the way. For me, it's bizarre. Like kids as young as fifth grade, as 9, 10 years old, already have these mental health issues. I remember having students that would have like huge insecurities, and that's where it starts. It all starts from when you're really young like that, and it keeps festering and growing. And just keeps going. I can remember my issues starting from when I was really young as well. I always felt like nobody could listen to me. Nobody considered my problems as real. My parents are always like, that's you're just a kid. Your problems aren't that big of a deal. But it's just as important. It's just as important because that's where it starts. If you don't address these issues, when they start, it's just going to get worse. They're going to grow more and more and more. It's like a virus in your body that starts out really itty bitty and small, and it keeps multiplying and growing and bigger, and pretty soon, man, it just gets you. It just consumes you. Oh yeah, Discord. You can message me on Discord too. I knew he might have been a goner after they found his stuff on the Manhattan Bridge. Then they found out, basically went into a downdraft, spinning into a corner. What can I get out? Yeah, they found his keys, his wallet, and his Nintendo Switch, I think. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man. Like he honestly, those were probably like the last representations of his life. Because it's like Nintendo Switch probably represented like his YouTube life, his fans and his life there, and then like his keys and wallet were like kind of like maybe, I don't know, his other parts of his personal life. But yeah, if you want to talk face to face with me, my Discord tag is Joe Culture, my Twitter is Joe Culture. Oh, there we go. No, you're good, Jay Bauer. I want everybody here to be able to feel like they can talk to each other. That's what we have. Discord. We have a Discord so y'all can play with each other, have some space. Actually, tomorrow is Curb's birthday. He his real name is Kenneth, but I just call him Curb because it's just shorter. And but his birthday is tomorrow actually, and he actually used to be one of my students when I used to work with elementary school kids, and he was a really cool kid. I mean. I don't know if you all know, but he does have cancer, and he's been fighting it for the last few years. And I didn't know this until I started live streaming again. So there was a time where I was kind of like sort of live streaming, but then I started to live stream regularly, and that's when that's when Curb kind of started to join. Anyway, for him, just to explain his story a little bit, it's been a platform for him to connect with others and have friends and talk. Because he told me before that he wouldn't really have like a space to. I think he's back in school now, but before he was at the hospital, it doesn't give you much room to make friends. So he spent a lot of time just kind of isolated, which is never good, and Discord kind of gave him, that spark he needed, the human connection again, and which is like super awesome. I kind of want, that's one of my things I want out of my channel. I wanted it to be a space for everyone to just kind of be able to talk to each other and connect, have fun, grow as people even. But yeah, only reason I really got depressed, at least for a long time, was because people on the internet hear a bunch of people on the internet. There's a bunch of nice people out there. There are a bunch of nice people out there. It's just like the internet and the news media and just media itself tends to highlight all the negative stuff because it's sensational. It gets views, it gets ratings. But there's actually a lot of good stuff out there too. It's easy to lose sight of that. Try to watch some good stuff on YouTube. Try to turn off the local news once in a while. Don't watch that stuff. They always report on the negative stuff, Seek out this more positive stuff. This is why I don't watch the news too much. It can be very depressing, and you have like negative after negative after negative thing in your life, and you're already kind of feeling like, if this is neutral, up here is happy, up here is like sad, and the further you go down, like the more sad you get. I would just stay away from all that negative stuff. He found his wallet, his driver's license, is Super Mario Odyssey Edition Switch, because both Joy-Cons are red. Okay. The laptop bag with all his clothing on his phone. Yeah, it seems like he wanted to, go away somewhere or whatever. It looked like he was gonna run away just from like all the stuff they found, but like I said, like I don't know. Or maybe he was living somewhere for a while. I don't know. Maybe he's kind of because like I know they said somewhere I heard somewhere that like he didn't even want to take his own life. He just felt like he had to because he felt like there's no other way out. There's no escape, you know. This is why I only watch YouTube and check Discord and Twitter because of the negative stuff that the news talks about. It makes people depressed. Yep, all that stuff, like you know, the political stuff. It's fascinating. It's important, but it's just way too negative. You know, if I kept up with all that stuff and allowed myself to really get too involved or like emotionally involved with that stuff, I think it would just like you know contribute to my already you know fragile psyche here. You know, it just doesn't. It's not going to help. This is why you know I like to watch other live streamers. I like to live stream myself. But yeah, I mean, and sometimes you'll notice that I take some time off. Either I'm doing homework or I'm just taking care of myself, like mentally. You know, and it's really important to do that. Just the process. Because sometimes you keep going. You know, you like for me, it's like work, school, and like for you guys too. I mean, a lot of you guys are young viewers, and you get school, homework. You know, and there's really no time to like take some time to process like what's going on with you, and like sometimes if you keep bottling things up and pushing things aside, or you know, delaying processing how you feel, your emotions, then it can kind of grow and blow up inside of you. So it's really important to take time to process how you're feeling. You know. Hey, Ice. Your dad was consumed by political stuff. He's a conservative. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like being involved with politics, but like, you know, it's on an individual basis. You know, if it's something that's gonna hurt you like mentally or emotionally, I'd say like you just stay away from it. Like you know, maybe read a headline here and there. But then again, it's up to your discretion. You know. Like for me, I hardly pay attention to it. Like if I do keep up with the news, I try to watch it from a comedian or something, you know, because they always put it in a more positive light, and they always like put a hopeful spin on it, you know. You regret hiding your stuff since I was 6 or 7. You really do. Yeah, it's tough, Casey. It's tough. You know, I did the same thing. Don't worry, you're not alone in that. Like none of us are. I was too proud to admit, you know, my weaknesses, my faults. Everything really that was I considered negative in my life. I was too afraid to admit any of that to people. You know, people ask you, "How are you doing?" "Oh, good." You know, "How you doing?" "Good." You know, "I'm fine." You know, you know, for me, it's been like you know maybe I can be slightly more honest with people when they ask me how I'm doing. You know, I'm okay. You know, maybe it's something as simple as that, or and like really mean it too. Or I'm like, oh, you know, I'm holding up maybe, or bad. I'm just bad. You know. Hey, Curb. I was just talking about you, actually. I was telling a little bit of how you were able to use, like, you know, this community we have going on here to kind of, you know, connect with other people. You know, because being alone is never a good thing. It's just you're just asking for bad things to happen to you. You know, if you let yourself be alone. I know one of the friends we met last school. He made me pursue the weather. At the end of the school year, his mind just snapped. He was going through something really bad. Huh. Yeah.